It's Bondalyn Jolly with Elm Street Technology and 365. And I'm so happy today to be relaunching Casual Conversations for 2021. And my very first guest of the year is my wonderful dear friend, CJ Hayes. Hey, CJ, how are you today?
Hey, Bondalyn, thanks for having me.
Oh, well, we had to have you back because honestly, you did a session with me in the fall where we talked about website optimization, and the amount of information that you packed into our 10-minute conversation was unbelievable. We received amazing feedback from it. And you teased out that YouTube needs to be a really good friend of ours. And so I just felt like you needed to come back and really do a deep dive with us today because you and your team do a ton of work on YouTube. And I think that you've got some amazing tips that you want to share with our audience today.
Wonderful. Well, let's just jump right in. This will be the fastest 1 hour slammed into 10 minutes you've ever going to see.
Perfect.
So yeah, in the last video, I was talking about how blogging needed to be a best friend, tactical blogging, to teach Google that you're a credible news source. But YouTube needs to be a best friend as well. Now, right now, YouTube's not necessarily a best friend to a lot of people because of the political climate. So you do have options like using Rumble or Vimeo. The only problem is if people are doing Google searches, they've been known to suppress other video channels. So you have to kind of look at the big picture. I know some agents that are using YouTube, Vimeo, and Rumble, and I know luxury agents that spend a ton of money on huge videos that use Vimeo because there's no ads. But anyway, first thing I want to talk about is having video can be intimidating because maybe you don't have the budget or the know-how to put together a great video for a property. So I came up with a really easy shortcut, and it's called a feature tease video. So in a feature tease video, you're not on camera, you can be having a bad hair day, and what you're going to do is you're going to pick the greatest thing you can about that property. Let's say maybe it's the kitchen. You're going to pick a place, you're going to be panning with your phone. Your phone is going to be sideways because you're shooting for YouTube. If you were doing a live Facebook video, then you're going to keep your phone up and down. So pick a place where you're going to pan. And if it were me, I might say, hey, everybody, CJ Hayes here. This great house at 123 Main Street. And I got to tell you, this kitchen is the center of the universe for me. Beautiful granite countertops, stainless appliances, beautiful view out into the backyard. And this great double wide Sub-Zero refrigerator comes with the house at the list price. If you'd like to get in on this, give me a call, blah, 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 blah. The video has to be at least a minute. Unless you're shooting for Instagram. But usually a minute and a half is about your cap, and you don't have to do any edits. Maybe you can make a couple of runs at it, but it's usually a one take type of situation. And one of the keys is that when people find a property in the Zillows of the world, they tend to Google the street address because they're looking for more information. And 9 times out of 10, you don't actually have any representation on your own listing on page 1 of Google. And the reason for that is companies like Zillow and other companies have created landing pages for every property address in North America that's paying property taxes in anticipation that one day it's going to go live. And then when it syndicates, they're already going to have a page that's been indexed. And that way they can control who comes up for what in the search engines. However, if you're able, depending on the rules of your MLS, if you can blog about this property while it's in coming soon status, or even get this quick feature tease video up, it's going to get indexed before it syndicates, and you have a really good chance of showing up in the top 10 for your own video.
Okay. Oh my
Okay.
God, CJ, that is like such great advice. So I have to ask though, because you made the comment that the video needs to be a minute long, a minute to a minute and a half, unless we're shooting for Instagram. Why is that?
Well, Google has a grading system, and here's one of the things you have to think about. I saw an agent do a walkthrough video on a house, which was like 8 minutes long. And that's great if you want to do a walkthrough video for someone who's super interested in the house and they live outside the area. But people have a short attention span. So when you're doing these videos that are 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes long, there's a grading scale. Google's paying attention to how long did that person stay on the video? Did they go to the end? Did they bail after the first 10 seconds? Usually people start to lose interest at about a minute and a half, 2 minutes max. So that's why I try to keep these videos short. And it doesn't mean you can't have a longer video, especially if it's one of these huge, luxury houses on the coast or Beverly Hills or something like that. But you still want to have that teaser video that you can get up while a house is in coming soon status.
Awesome. All right. Check that one off. What's next, sir?
Okay, so I'm going to go to my screen real quick. Hang on just one second. I preloaded a video. I'm going to show you guys how to optimize a property video. You should be seeing my screen. You see it now?
Do not see it.
Okay. Oh, I got to hit share. Duh. Okay, now you should be seeing it.
Yep. Got it.
Okay, so what I did is this is the screen that you're in when you're uploading a video into YouTube, and I'm going to point out some really important things. This is going to be like the most important thing on how to optimize a video properly. Now, number one, you're allowed to have 100 characters in your title. The first part of your title always needs to be the street address, exactly as it would appear in a directory, all the way to the zip code, and then you can add something to that. Now, here's the thing. When you're looking at a Google snippet, you're looking in the search results and you see the title in the search result. It's only going to show the first 70 characters, even though you're allowed 100. So generally, you want this to be from 50 to 70 characters, and this comes in at 59. And while we're here, one of the things I want to point out is after the house sells, unless the buyer asks you to take the video down, you want to leave it up because you want to have history for this street address, because maybe you represented the seller and 3 years later the house goes back on the market and this video is still up. Guess who may get the call? Because this video is probably going to be in the top 10 of the search results. And when you get that call, you can say, oh yeah, I know all about this house. I was the original listing agent 3 years ago. So you'd go back and you'd put sold and maybe even a bragging point like under contract in 3 days. Okay. Next, and this is something I'm going to show you once I hit the publish button, but the description is very important. You want to, the description is being indexed by Google. If you just have 2 or 3 sentences in your description, it really doesn't score well. So you want to put in the entire property description, even a description about the neighborhood. You're allowed 5,000 characters. Okay. But one of the things you're going to notice, and I'm going to show you what this looks like I said, when I hit publish, but the very first thing I have in the description is a hyperlink. Now, if it's just a general video, the hyperlink would be the homepage of your website. If it's a specific property, then the link is going to go to that property page within your website. And I'll show you why this happens here in a few minutes. And the reason why you have it up front is because when people look at the video on YouTube in the search results, you're basically going to see like the first 3 lines of information, and there's no call to actions. If you put your call to action link at the bottom of your description, most people do not open up the more section, which I'll show you in a minute. So you want to have a call to action right on top that people can click right into. So we have the title, as much description as you can, whatever hyperlink you want, which has to have the full HTTPS or it's not going to be clickable. Next, we're going to scroll down. YouTube will choose 3 images out of your video to use as the thumbnail. I always suggest take like image number 1, crop it. You can Google YouTube thumbnail sizes and it'll tell you the exact size that it wants it to be. And if you are great with Photoshop and you want to put in like a text overlay, like the address, your branding on that slide, you can do that as well. But I usually like to pick a slide. Scroll down some more. No, it's not made for kids. Always click that, because there's all these odd restrictions that come up and extra review if you say yes, it is made for kids, especially if it's a commercial piece. So you keep scrolling down. Tags are very important. These are just like keywords. So I put in the name of the community, the first part of the address, the city, the zip code, put in the name of the brokerage, name of the agent. I always put in open houses and virtual tours because those are 2 of the top search things that people use. Real estate, this is a golf property, homes for sale. That's important. But here's where the money is. And you can leave language alone. That's not important. But video location. This is one thing that I don't see agents doing. This is one of the most hidden but most important tips I could give anybody. And that is you can actually geotag the video. By geotagging the video, you hyper-localize the video. And it even comes into play that if someone's sitting at a Starbucks 10 blocks from this house and they're doing a search for homes online, and Google knows where you're at, and it knows there's a search result 10 blocks from your location, there's a good chance that's going to come up. The other thing too is when someone's typing in that street address in Google, if it has a Google map location tied to it, then it's going to have a greater chance of excuse me. So what I'm going to show you here is I started typing in 35 Sloping Green, and you'll see that it came up down here. Okay, so you just click on that, and now you've geotagged your video. Now, let's say you were doing a review about a business, because I always encourage my agents to do hyperlocal videos as well, not just real estate. Go for a bike ride with a GoPro, do a restaurant review, whatever it may be. If you start typing in a business, like if I were to type in our company, what it's going to do, it's going to pull from the Google business directory. And the thing that's great about this is if someone were to Google that particular business, whether it's a restaurant or a state park or whatever, there's a good chance that this video is going to show up in their search results, even though they're not looking for real estate. But understand, like I said in the prior video, if you're doing non-real estate blogging or non-real estate videos, about 8% of those people are 0 to 6 months away from buying or selling a house. So video location is very important. Next, you always want to put the video in people and blogs, and then you're pretty much done. I'm going to hit next. Now I'm actually going to mark this as unlisted because, it's not my listing, it's a client's listing, but normally you'd hit public. Don't worry about set as an instant premiere. I'm going to hit unlisted. I'm going to hit save. And then we're actually going to go look at the actual video. Close video. Let's actually look at it. And here's what I'm going to point out to you. All righty. So we have that thumbnail that I put in. Looks really beautiful, full width, high resolution. We end up having the title, but here's where the money is. You'll remember I put in that link to the property listing. Okay, there it is. In fact, they cut it off so that it doesn't waste the space. You're given 3 lines of information that the people can see. I can't tell you how many times, which is most of the time, an agent will put up a property and number one, there's no link, and maybe they skip a line or two here so that you're only seeing like one sentence. You want to use all 3 of those lines. Now, the reason I said you always want to have a hyperlink here right off the bat is that people don't click on show more. Okay. If your link is down here and people don't click on show more, you're reducing the chance that they're actually going to convert by clicking that link and going to your website. And so that's what's important. That's the most important stuff that I can tell you. And then the other thing too is if you happen to have a website, it's good to have a video page for like video tours. When you do that blog post about that property that's about to go live, you can go back and embed this video into that page as well. And then lastly, let me just kill the screen here, stop share, get back to my ugly mug. So what happens is a lot of agents will then take that video on YouTube and they'll pop the link into Facebook. But the problem is Facebook really doesn't it really doesn't recognize YouTube links. I mean, yeah, some people are going to see it, but it's going to be mostly hidden. So it's always good to take that video and also directly upload it into Facebook, which is going to increase the chances that video is going to be seen in Facebook. But that's basically it in a nutshell. It's you're going to go back. People are going to go back and watch this video a few times, I'm sure, because I moved pretty quickly. But yeah, YouTube needs to be a best friend because YouTube is owned by Google, and Google wants to deliver videos in the search results. And you want to show up in the top 10 of Google for your own property because once it syndicates, everybody else has it, and companies like Zillow, Realtor.com, Movoto, Redfin, all these national brokerages, they have way more SEO juice than independent agents and brokerages have.
Wow, CJ, you did it again. You crammed so much information into our time. I can't believe it. You're such a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's just, you have to understand that not only are we a vendor, not only do we do websites and marketing and all that, but I'm actually a marketing partner for a very successful team here in Vegas. And I'm a marketing coordinator for a number of teams around the country. Even my business partner is a licensed agent. So we're not just being a vendor, but I'm actually responsible for the marketing budgets and online strategies for a number of teams around the country that are actually very quite successful. So everything that I teach is stuff that I have learned to use or things that I've developed, and it's all experiential.
This is fantastic. So your company, Agent Reputation, I've known you for a long time. We've worked together on various projects over the years. I know that you are a development partner for IDX Broker, which is one of the companies under the Elm Street Technology family. And every time I get the opportunity to connect with you, I always learn something new. And I think I actually learned a couple of things myself today watching this YouTube video. So I'm going to have to go back and watch it a second time as well.
Yeah, like I said, I banged through it pretty quick. This is actually a 1 hour seminar, because I usually show lots of other examples. But if you just stick to the basics and look at YouTube and videos through different eyes, and I just want to reiterate one more time, like I said, some people are kind of moving away from mainstream social right now due to politics or whatever. And Rumble, you can still put videos on Rumble. You can use Vimeo. Vimeo's not free; you have to sign up for that. But like I said, it's pretty safe to assume that if one company owns a particular video platform, that there's a really good chance that those videos are not going to show up in the search results if they're on other platforms. So it's kind of like you have a love-hate relationship with Google, who started killing organics for agents about 5 years ago. So that's why YouTube and blogging are so important to help equalize your presence online.
Well, that's fantastic. Everybody, I hope you learned something today. And leave us a comment below. Let us know what you're doing with YouTube. And if you'd like us to have CJ back and maybe do a 1 hour webinar where we can dig in deeper, just message me or leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for tuning in today. CJ, thanks so much. It was a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great to see you.
All right, take care.
Bye bye.